Hello everyone, Cranny here. Today I'm going to show you how to remove the dashboard on a 90s Buick Park Avenue or LeSabre. The first step you want to do is take out all of these vents. If you just turn them, they'll come out quite easily. Set them aside. I would recommend putting both of your front seats back as far as possible while you're taking the dash out. It just makes it easier. Then you need to remove this wood grain. It's just held in with clips. Next up is this main dash bezel. It's held on by 3 screws on the bottom here, and then 1 screw at the top of each vent. You can see it there. Then the screws here will be right here, one right here. These you can use a Phillips head driver for, or a 7mm socket. I would recommend the 7mm socket. Then the dash bezel is just held in with clips. So at the top only though. Also, I would recommend pulling the shifter down. There we go. It's a little hard to get around the column there. And there's your dash bezel off. After the dash bezel, if you need to remove anything like your climate control, your radio, your gauge cluster, or any of these panels, you can do that here, although none of them are required to actually pull this dash frame out. So if you want to, you can just leave it in. The next step here is dropping these covers on the bottom. These cover up some of the bolts that hold the lower dash on, so you need to remove them before you can take the lower dash off. This cover has 3 screws on it. One is located right here, another is right here, and there. Then this has 1, 2, and a 3rd down there as well. And they're held in with some wing nuts at the back. Now this left panel I would just recommend leaving dropped like this. However, the right panel only has this one light, so I will pull it. The next step in the process is removing the passenger side airbag. But to do that, you'll need to go and disconnect the battery, so pop the hood and we'll do that real quick. Here are the battery terminals. Both of them use an 8mm socket. And you just have to disconnect them. Alright, I've got the terminals disconnected here. Realistically, you probably only need to disconnect one, but I'm paranoid, so I'll just disconnect both, I guess. Then underneath the dash here, you should be able to find this yellow connector. The top side of this, I believe, has some warnings on it to tell you to not disconnect it without the battery off, but we have the battery off, so we can get it out real quick. There. Then up here we just have 4 nuts and bolts. There's a bolt here, nut there, and a bolt here. They're all 10mm. Alright, I removed the 4 nuts and bolts. Now this should just pop right out. If it's your first time, this cable here will be connected to some stuff underneath the dash. You'll be able to sort of yank it. Alright, cable's out, then you can just set it aside. Next is finally pulling the lower dash panel here. After you've removed these bolts which hold it on, you also need to remove this bolt here, this nut here, that bolt there, this bolt here underneath the dash, and this bolt here. And then your lower dash will pop off. Alright, those 6 bolts, or 5 bolts, have now been removed, and you can just lift the dash out like this. There will be some wiring to disconnect. I would recommend getting a screwdriver. Start with this one here. This one, you squeeze these tabs here and you should be able to pull it out, although it's usually finicky. There we go. Then this will just fall through and you can turn it like that. Then this here is just clipped together. Should be able to pull it relatively easily. Okay, there we go. Normally this is held on right here with this clip, but on mine it's been removed. I'll pull this one next. Alright, there we go. And this one has a clip out the back side. There we go. There it is. And finally, the hardest one, which is this oil reset switch. So the clip, the wire faces down like this, and you have to press down on this bottom part. It's easier to do if you have a screwdriver. So that's all of the wiring for the lower dash. Now you can just pull it right out of the car. The next step is removing this upper dash pad. There are, you just need to pull these with a screwdriver. I recommend sort of going at it from like the corner here. Here's the other side. There we go. Here you can see the screws underneath, one on each side. You just have to remove those next. Then this upper dash pads should sort of just pull forward. There we go. And there are lights underneath here. 2 on this side, so you need to spin them. Here's one. There we go. and then one light on this side. There we go. Then this just comes out. On the 95 and earlier cars, you do not need to remove those lights because they are mounted to the dash pad itself instead. At least that's how I remember it. Next, you have to remove this idiot light bar on the top. There are 3 screws, one here, one right in the center, and one on the end here. They are 7mm. There we go. Different screws from the other ones. Then this will pull out, and you need to disconnect this connector at the back, which can be a bit of a pain sometimes. For me, it came off quite easy because I've done this before. Then there's just a couple more screws. We have one here at the top, one here, and one here. And on some of the cars I've done this, there's one here too, although mine didn't have it. Alright, at this point your dash should be loose like this. However, we do have to, well, I don't know if you have to, but you should drop the steering column, which is really quite easy. There's a 13mm bolt on each side underneath here. The only reason you have to do this is just because the steering wheel gets in the way of pulling the dash. You also have to remove this clip on the column here. This is what controls the shift indicator. It's just fit onto there by friction. And then the column can drop down a little bit and give us the room to pull the dash. Alright, you can see I have the dash sitting here. If you don't have the steering column supported by something, I would not be resting this on there. But there's a few bits of wiring. You can see this here is a bulkhead connector. There is a 7mm bolt on the back end of it, like this, right in the center of the connector, which you need to take out. Alright, I've got the bulkhead connector disconnected, and you can see this is the side that goes to the firewall. You can see the bolt here. Then there's just a couple other bits of wiring. On this side, there's this piece. Right here you have to pull. Here it is. Okay. There's that. Then we have one on the left side here. Then on the right side here, there are a couple bits up there. Here you can see one. All right. That's off. Then we have one here. And the last one is this right here. This is for the antenna, I believe. This tube here, which I believe is only on the auto AC cars, you need to disconnect this tube, which you can sort of do with a screwdriver, although it's still a pain. This is, I believe, the temp sensor, or it's some kind of temp sensor, that's for sure. Alright, once you have that disconnected, then you have to feed the tube at the bottom of the dash. From the factory, it's connected with a couple, clips and stuff. On mine, they're no longer connected. Now the dash will pull out. All right, now you can see the dash is removed. You can access, stuff with your steering column or with the AC system, which I had to repair recently. Hopefully you guys enjoyed and found it useful, and have a good one.